Welcome back, adventurers. Well, having just got our boat from being impounded in customs, we are now excited to leave Greece bound for the turquoise coast of Turkey, only to have our anchor snagged as we try to leave the port. Fouled anchor. So we will share how we got ourselves out of this situation and the various tricks and tips to get your boat free. We make the 10-mile crossing to Turkey and check in at Bodrum and compare the process of both countries. You can be as diligent as you can, but the check-in process is kinda like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're gonna get. The Portofino 52 updates this week is sharing the Skeg and Rudder design as well as lifting points to avoid ever having to use straps when lifting your boat out of the water. So, kick off your shoes and come barefoot with us. We are John and Ellie, the Barefoot Doctors, sailing and travelling around the globe. Join us as we share the adventure and explore the beauty of the world. 'Cause life is better barefoot. Fun and games at the port.
Yeah, this super yacht here was moored stern to over against the wall over there, but he's obviously not happy. He wants to put out more chain because of the strong winds that are coming. But he drove forward and looks like he's dropped his chain probably over the top of several of our chains. Put two anchors out actually, one over the top of ours, and he's dropping a second one now it seems. But like I think some of these super yachts think they can do whatever they like because they're big and expensive, but we'll see. I'm hoping our chain is just short of where they've dropped theirs, but this guy has got 45 meters out, and he reckons they're over the top of his anchor and he's wanting to leave tomorrow. Yikes, Batman.
Hey guys, with all the exciting stuff that's going to be happening in 2025, especially the launch of our new aluminium Portofino cat, you don't want to miss out on any of that.
So hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and come along with us for an awesome ride, guys.
It's going to be great, so don't miss out. We just said goodbye to the keeper of the dock, and in the future it's channel 74, and we have to make reservations 2 days ahead, and that's for the island of Kos. We really enjoyed our stay. It's time to go.
Once you're far enough forward so you're not going to bump into the next door boat, you can slow down because obviously she'll have to catch up with the chain. This guy's coming later, and his sounds about that, but we'll just have to see if we cross his line.
That way, hon.
That way.
Except it's really jamming.
So his anchor's over the top of ours.
So we're fouled on this guy's anchor at the back of us.
So this looks like a perfect opportunity for us to share how anchors get fouled and how to break them free. When you are living on a boat, this is certainly something that is going to happen to you, so you need to know how to fix it and also how to avoid it. So the first thing to understand is that there are two ways your anchor can foul. The first one is where another boat drops their anchor over the top of yours, and as you pull your anchor out, your anchor grabs their chain. That is obviously what happened here, and we even predicted it several days earlier. It doesn't matter whose fault it is because it still has to be fixed. The other way your anchor can be fouled is by getting it hooked on other people's chains as you are dragging it up. When you are moored and everybody's anchors are stretched out in front of them, As you lift your anchor and motor forward, you obviously head towards your anchor and progressively lift your chain. This all looks very easy, but in reality, the wind will often push you to one side, and then you are driving towards your anchor over the top of other people's chains. If you are not careful, you can actually motor your boat forward and drag your anchor underneath the next boat's chain, or as you are lifting your chain and you don't motor forward far enough, you can drag your anchor back over the person's chain that is downwind. The way to avoid this is always to pay attention to the direction of the chains of the adjacent boats. The chains will be under tension, so the chain will be very straight and you should be able to see the direction the chain is heading. So when you are maneuvering your boat to lift up your anchor, stay well between the other two people's anchors and try to aim your boat to be directly over your own anchor, as this is the ideal place to be. Also avoid driving off when your anchor isn't yet out of the water, as you don't want to be dragging your anchor along the seafloor, as this increases your risk of fouling other people's anchors as well as debris on the harbour floor. And then another tip is to make sure you motor directly out parallel with the other boat's chains until your anchor is completely up. So then the big question is, once you are fouled, how do you free up your anchor? The very first thing to do is to call and signal to the boat whose anchor chain you have fouled to let them know that this is happening. This is very important because they need to then be able to protect their boat from being blown backwards into the harbour wall as you maneuver and might slacken off their anchor and their chain. You might also need their help to give you some slack on their chain as well. So let them know what's happening and everybody can work together. Also guys, just stay calm. There is no hurry to free up your anchor because you're not going anywhere. You're actually stuck on this guy's chain, and except for the situation where you might be blown towards his boat, you are going to be sitting there stationary and not able to move anyway. So take your time, work out what to do, and then go through the following steps. The easiest way to release your anchor, if you are lucky, is to be able to maneuver your boat and drag your anchor back away from the person's chain. So maneuver your boat directly over your own chain by tightening your anchor so that it is very tight and pointing vertically downwards.
We've got to get it short so it's straight down below us.
Now let several meters of chain out and then reverse gently in the direction of where you came from. What you're hoping to do is to have your anchor fall down onto the seafloor. The slack chain allows the tip to point downwards into the mud, and then as you reverse backwards, you are hoping to pull the anchor across and away from the other person's chain. This very seldom happens on the first go, so try it several times and also try it in different directions. If you are successful, it's wonderful because you just pull up your chain and then can motor away, and the other boat has not had to loosen off their chain. Once you've tried this several times and you make the decision that you can't succeed, the next technique is to get the other boat to give you slack on their chain so you can pull the anchor up with the chain right up to the surface, and then you get a strong line and loop it around the chain and tie it onto the bow of your boat to take the weight of the chain. You then ease your anchor out and the rope takes the weight of the chain. Your anchor then drops down and is free of the chain, and you can then hoist it again and store it all the way up onto your boat. You then untie one end of the rope that's holding the chain, and the other person's chain just drops back down to the sea floor. Let the other boat know that their chain is now free and they can tighten in their anchor and make their boat secure again. This process is a little bit more complicated than the first, but certainly will do the job effectively as long as your windlass is strong enough to pull the chain up to the surface. Obviously, if the anchor is not coming up, or if your windlass is not strong enough, you will have to dive down onto the anchor, see what's jamming it, and hopefully you might be able to manipulate it free directly, or tie a rope to the front end of the anchor that you have, swim it back up to the surface, and then winch the anchor up, as from this angle, the point of the anchor does not get caught on anything. On this occasion, we were very lucky that I managed to free up the anchor just by maneuvering the boat around. So we let the other boat know we were free and happily went on our way. But there have also been times when we were fouled with debris on the bottom of the ocean, and I've had to dive down and retrieve the anchor from crevices and rocks, or horrible, rusty, old, very thick, huge anchor chains from ships. That was pretty disgusting.
We're free. Thank you.
I thought I was going to have to go for a swim actually. It was looking like it wasn't going to happen, but anyway, we got it freed, so that's great. And now it's over to Turkey. They had to loosen off their anchor chain and put their motors on to get themselves off the wall, so we we could pull our anchor up a bit, and then it unfortunately reversed and it came free of their chain. And those guys actually dropped their anchor over the top of us, so we're standing on the front of our boats yesterday or the day before saying too close, and they caught us, and that's what you get. The trouble is it becomes our problem then. But anyway, it's all done, fixed, and that's what you have to do. Here is a Navy ship waiting for us just to check to make sure we have done the paperwork before we leave, or perhaps I'm just being paranoid. There's Coast Harbour, we're just leaving, and Turkey is just in front of us, 10 miles away to Bodrum, so it should be a quick trip.
Hi guys, well we have checked out of Greece officially and we're on our way to Turkey. We've got the Q flag up and it's going to take us a couple of hours to get from Kos straight over to Turkey, and then we have to check in and we have to go through quarantine and also the Port Authority to officially check in to Turkey. I don't know if you can see it, but that landmass over there is Turkey. So we've only just left Greece and that landmass is Greece. So it's really, really close. Anyway, so we're on our way. We've got an agent that's taking care of business for us over there, helping us to check in. That's what you need. And yeah, we got a general up, so we've got some wind. We've got about 20 to 25 knots of wind, and we're just cruising along. And yeah, a couple of hours and we'll be there. All going well. Anyway, that's it from the Barefoot Doctors, finally sailing again.
We're about to cross the border, that red line.
So guys, this is just the red line is the border from Greece to Turkey, and we are close to crossing.
Well, less than 100 meters, isn't it?
Yeah. Now you get perspective. Right on the border. Greece, Turkey. We are now officially borderline. We're on the border. We're borderline. Always knew we were borderline. Sending the Turkish agent a message.
Giving him an update of the ETA because of the fouled anchor, we've kind of been delayed about half an hour. So I'm saying we're probably going to be getting in at 2:30, but we'll also lose our data because we don't have Turkish SIM cards, and the Greek one certainly won't work in Turkey. So, so I'm saying this will be the last message until we get there at 2:30. We are successful. yeah. So that took about half an hour once we got in there, but the jetty was full, so we had to anchor off and then drive in. Cost an extra 30 euros because of the delay, I think.
But worth it.
But worth it, and it only took 30 minutes once we were there.
Yeah.
Same as last time when we came to Turkey, so it's very quick, very easy.
Especially when you use an agent.
Yeah. And the agent, Nigel,
who has lots of friends.
Anyway, it cost 300 euros. A lot of that was the fees for the Turkish authorities.
Yeah.
And I think the fees for the agent is about 100 of those 300 euros.
So we're done, we're legal, we just have to put up the Turkish flag, which John's about to do right now.
Okay, let's go.
Okay?
Go.
We are legal. Yay!
So this would be an ideal time to chat about the difference between Greece and Turkey for their boat entry requirements. The initial cost for obtaining a cruising log and customs entry in Greece is only around 100 euros, but this process takes several hours unless you use an agent, and that costs around 100 to 150 euros. There is then also the monthly tapai or cruising fees, which for our 45-foot boat was 109 euros per month. The process for paying your tapai is online and it takes many hours, especially the first time. There are multiple steps requiring feedback from the department, and the computer systems are not particularly user-friendly. Once you know how to do it, you do get through it much faster, and it's also important to realize that you have to use Google Chrome and not Apple Safari browsers. Otherwise, the system just freezes up on you all the time. It is also unfortunate that there are specific individuals at port authorities and customs offices in different places that can be very, very obstructive and difficult to deal with. So the agent fee is very worthwhile unless you are really trying to save the money. The Turkish entry process, on the other hand, was amazingly easy, with a single upfront payment of 300 euros, which included the agent fees and all the customs processes. The best thing about this was that it was done in a very rapid 30 minutes and was done completely by the agent, including filling out all the paperwork. Of course, the other bureaucratic process that you have to do in Turkey is to have your black water tanks pumped out every 2 weeks and get your papers stamped. This process costs about 10 to 15 euros each time, so about 20 to 30 euros per month. So overall the costs are very similar, but the Turkish processes are very, very straightforward, very clear and very obvious. You also don't have the hassle of having to register your boat at every major port as you do in Greece when you were using a cruising log. Both Turkey and Greece are wonderful cruising grounds, and it is worth pointing out that these processes are not required in any of the other major European countries. We certainly enjoyed our sailing time in both Greece and Turkey enormously, so are willing to go through these bureaucratic hurdles to enjoy the very pleasant and cheaper lifestyle you get in this part of the Med.
And now we can just kick back and really enjoy that turquoise coast.
This is the beautiful Martina, the Italian beautiful goddess. And she's going to explain it to you all about this.
Your Italian accent's awful, honey.
Okay, so this is the 52, okay, and we are seeing here the Skeg and the Rudder, the lifting rudder, and the lower point of the boat is over here, and as you can see, this is the line of the sand when the boat is beached. I was just speaking with the team about how is the setup of the boat when touch the sand. What is the impact with the Skeg when the boat touch the sand. So most probably the something will be similar to this one. Sunline like this. So this is why we are set up in this part with this configuration to make possible for the boat to touch not only the center part of the boat, but also the stern part and be more stable.
Sure.
This is the
And
idea.
this little yellow section on the Skeg, is that a slightly wider?
Yes, this is a plate, a thick plate, most probably will be like a 15mm aluminium, 15, very thick. So this plate is under the Skeg, horizontal, and help a lot the Skeg with the pressure that is on it, make more surface and more stable the point.
And the Skeg obviously will keep the rudder off the sand.
Yes, of course, of course. And the concept is to make work together the rudder together with the Skeg. So this is why we level the two parts together, the same height, so that not only is working the Skeg but also the fixed part of the rudder. This part of the rudder, the one that you see in light blue, is made with aluminium more thick than the rest of the rudder, because the part of the rudder that is closed not have any big stress except the navigation. During the navigation it have to be resist to the water pressure, but the other part that is the fixed part need to support the boat when it's beached. So need to be more thick. Okay, a lot of boats I was seeing just now that prefer to stay on the Skeg only and remove the sand under the rudder. We are thinking about this because the rudder, if made strong, can help the Skeg in that point. Otherwise, all the weight of the boat is only in the Skeg itself.
For me, we had a rudder like that sat in the sand about this much, and it was just a nuisance because as we came up, it was the rudder that was going maybe 4 or 5 meters each way, depending on the wind, or maybe 3 meters. But anyway, a little bit of movement either way, and the sand will wear out the anti-foul on the rudder and scratch the paintwork. So and it isn't the sitting that's the problem. It's as you lift the sideways scraping for half an hour, maybe you're having this as the boat's starting to float. And also sometimes if you're on a beach that's a little bit like on a slope, the front of the boat launches first because the water comes in from the front, so the bow starts going up. but your rudder is is still down. So I would much rather have that. Try to not be in the sand. That's my
Personal suggestion. There are 3 chain plate, okay, and 2 are for the shrouds, okay, and the stand one is for the lifting point. It's more heavy, more big.
much thicker, isn't it? So this is the one that'll, when we're getting the boat lifted, that's where you lift the boat from.
Right, correct.
Great.
Yes.
You have 2
Oh, you mean at this end of the beam?
Yes, you have 2 there.
Yeah.
And 2 in the beam.
2 in the front, okay. Okay, great. Oh, yeah, okay, great.
This is Paolo, everyone.
But the big eight is in this thing, is in the,
Oh, the big
this one. This
weight.
one only for the
Full
balance.
balance, okay. So that means we don't have to put straps under the boat to lift it anymore.
Correct. Same system, but there is not
No belt.
No belt.
Okay.
And the belt is the one that scratches the paint. And,
yeah.
Not mine, metallic paint.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, Martina. Also, thanks to our awesome Patreons for helping us help others in need. Until next week, guys, hold fast to your dreams, for like the wind in the sails, they propel you towards endless possibilities.